Hey guys, this is what Naruto was trained by Tobirama part 1, and so this is the series that's replacing what Naruto had Ice release, so I hope you guys enjoy. Without further ado, roll the intro. Naruto was tired of it all. The cold stares, being called a demon, being chased by mobs, feeling helpless and having to rely on others, being kicked out of stores and libraries. Naruto was 6 years old. He'd been living in the streets for 2 years. The orphanage lady had kicked Naruto out, saying that he was old enough to take care of himself. After that, Naruto had tried contacting Hiruzen, but he had always been blocked from entering the tower, and Hiruzen had a high amount of paperwork than usual. So, eventually, he'd given up on trying to change the situation. When Hiruzen gave him an apartment, he thanked him for it. When he got burned down by the villagers, he didn't do anything about it. In addition to that, his blood red hair was easily tracked, allowing people to find him easily, which normally wasn't a good thing. He looked up from his spot on the Hokage's monument, more specifically, the Nindame's, or second Hokage's head. It had been about a year ago when he found out something that had shaken him to his core, along with dissolving his respect for the fourth Hokage. Flashback. Naruto was currently practicing his stealth by applying it into his current venture of breaking into the civilian archives. These were some of the most highly important files in Konoha. It gave a detailed synopsis on every non-shinobi within Konoha's walls. If someone got these files, they could insert false information, which would allow spies to remain undetected longer. Now, contrary to most people's belief, Naruto was not an idiot. Far from it. An almost the exact opposite, actually. He was a genius. With a nice lofty IQ of 207, you could easily find holes in the security system and exploit them. Blind spots, irregular guard rotations, and laziness on the part of the guards were all tools that could be exploited, and by hook or by crook, Naruto was going to exploit them all. Now, the intelligence archive was on the topmost floor on the east side of the Hokage's tower, which seemed to be an odd choice of location, but made sense since an Earth-style user could easily burrow through and into an underground room. It always had a constant guard of 6 Tokubetsu Jonin, 2 guards left every 8 hours. And after, and only after, the guards who'd come to replace them had arrived and stayed for at least 30 minutes, in addition to being properly debriefed on everything that had happened during the previous shift. 2 of the guards were located at the door to the room, 2 directly above the windows on top of the roof, and 2 right below the windows on the ground. And that was saying nothing of the dozens of seals lining the walls, meant to set off an alarm if any of the seals detected the use of chakra. Along with an inch thick glass windows that had electricity and heat absorbing seals that could absorb most B rank, lightning, and fire style ninjutsu. Overall, the entire thing was a massive piece of security, only surpassed by the room of Shinobi Archives located directly in the Hokage's office, guarded by at least a dozen Ombu members. The room was designed so that chakra-aided stealth was useless to try and get into the room, and therein lied its most glaring fault. It was designed to catch any adult using chakra-aided stealth. It did nothing against someone or a child that was not using chakra. Well, a child with an above 200 IQ and a frankly unnatural level of stealth for someone his age. The answer was quite simply, actually, and anyone around Naruto's size could have done it. Naruto got inside the building around 12 o'clock, when normal people inside the building went out for lunch. He immediately went to the bathroom, where he loosened the air duct from the ceiling and slipped inside, reattaching the air duct to the ceiling. He then moved quickly and quietly as he could through the maze of air ducts. Now this is where it became sort of tricky. The air ducts crisscrossed and went back on each other, so it was quite hard to figure out where to go. Naruto made several wrong turns before he finally mapped out the entire system of air ducts in his mind. Moving as quickly as he could, he retraced his steps and went through the correct way to the civilian archive room. Now I know the room is often used, but only by those with authorized personnel, so I'll have to wait until everybody leaves, Naruto thought. And so there Naruto waited, stock still, for 8 hours. 8 hours later. That was brutal, Naruto thought to himself as he dropped from the vent to the ground, silently. Well, now that I got in, what do I want to do? I wonder if they have any information on me. Naruto pulled out a pen light and quickly scanned the shelf for the U section. Ah, Uzumaki. Here we are, Naruto thought, as he opened the box and began to read the files. Interesting. There was one other Uzumaki, or actually 2 others beside me. Kushina Uzumaki and Biti Uzumaki. Not much about Mito, so let's go with Kushina Uzumaki's. Died during the Kyuubi attack. Old enough to be my mother, coincidentally, but probably an aunt, since I probably got my last name from my father. Now, for my file. Naruto Uzumaki, successor of his mother, Kushina Uzumaki. As Konoha's Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. What? No. That actually makes sense, Naruto thought bitterly. The glares, the insults, the beatings. I'm all that they hate, basically wrapped up and bow-tied. The old man has a lot to explain, like why the name of my father is redacted. He quickly read through the rest of it before putting everything back and disappearing back into the vents. 5 minutes later, he emerged from the bathroom and quickly made his way up to the Hokage's office. Luckily, Hiruzen's secretary was gone. She was quite a nasty woman, or at least nasty to Naruto anyway. He opened the room and walked in. Ah, Naruto, Hiruzen said as he looked up. It's good to see you again. Nine Tails Jinchuriki, Naruto said softly as he looked down at the floor. When were you going to tell me? Who told you about that? Hiruzen's face totally turned serious. The civilian archive was rather informative, Naruto said, still looking down. Why? Why didn't you tell me? Hiruzen sighed as he stood and walked around the desk and stood right in front of Naruto. He was about to speak when Naruto cut him off. Please don't treat me like a child. Just tell me the truth, Naruto said quickly. I want you to have a reasonable childhood, Hiruzen replied sadly. I know I failed, and I failed really badly. And you have every right to be mad at me, but please don't be mad at Konoha. They all lost so much during the Kyuubi attack. And I know a lot of them are ignorant and thinking that you are the Kyuubi, but please do not be mad at them. I'm guessing the 4th Hokage didn't really defeat it, did he? Naruto said, finally looking up. Hiruzen nodded and Naruto continued. I understand, but before I forgive you, I'll need 2 things. I think of it as compensation. 1, I'll need a new apartment, as my old one was burned down, and this time in a location where nobody would know. I'll have to be careful about going to it so people don't burn it down again. And lastly, a single scroll from the Hokage's personal library. Hiruzen sighed and said, Very well, it's the least I can do. Flashback end. Today had been a trying day for Naruto. As smart as he was at the academy, teachers refused to teach him anything, so he was kinda out of luck. That and the library didn't allow him in, so he was also at another dead end of trying to teach himself. Then there was Sasuke's arrogance, which was almost unbearable. Naruto reached into his pocket and pulled out a thin, small scroll. Apparently it belonged to Tobirama, Naruto's now new favorite Hokage. Sure, the man was slightly questionable in his dislike of Uchihas, but then again, they did slaughter hundreds of his family members, as did his clan, the Senju, slaughtered tons of Uchiha. But it was okay. I mean, while Naruto didn't really condone hating the Uchiha clan, even if they were slightly annoying, or at least most of the members were, he still found that Tobirama was the creator of the Flying Thunder God, the fastest jutsu in existence. Even though he didn't perfect it, it was what gave rise to the Yellow Flash. I suppose it couldn't hurt to know what it contained, Naruto said, looking down at the scroll. Hey, it might even be able to help me get better. He quickly opened it. Naruto quickly opened the scroll and placed it on the ground before channeling chakra into the seal. The seal glowed blue before a huge puff of smoke came out of it. Naruto felt something was wrong, and not bothering to doubt his instincts, he quickly pulled out a kunai. Seeing a glint in the smoke, he moved his kunai to protect himself, and just in time, as the kunai shot out of the smoke, he barely deflected it, sending it behind him. Wait, that kunai had something to handle, didn't it? And I feel like I'm missing something. What am I missing? Naruto thought. What was the Nindame known for? Flying Thunder God. Damn, Naruto thought it as he spun around, but it was too late. A hand knocked into him, sending the kunai from his fist to the ground, and another hand grabbed his throat tightly, but not too tight so he couldn't breathe. Naruto finally got a look at the person who attacked him. He saw something he thought he would never see in person. Nindame, Naruto thought. No, a clone. He died a while ago. Who are you? Tobirama said. And how did you come in possession of my scroll? My name is Naruto Uzumaki, Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, Naruto said. He felt as if he should probably say it, seeing as how the Nindame was supposedly a really good censor, so he would have known either way. And Lord Thurder gave me the scroll. I was hoping its contents could help me. You see, at the academy, the teachers don't really teach me anything because they kind of hate me. I don't care, came Tobirama's curt reply. And frankly, I don't know why Saru gave you the scroll in the first place, but I'm not going to help you. You have a problem, so fix it yourself. He dropped Naruto and started walking away back to the scroll. But just like everyone else, Naruto murmured in anger as he rubbed his throat, willing to kiss the last Uchiha's ass if he asked him to, but hate the Fox Boy for what he has done to you. Nothing. Whatever. Tobirama froze at the words last Uchiha. What'd you say? He asked incredulously. What's it to you? Naruto snarled as he walked away. I asked you a question, boy. Tobirama replied, flaring his chakra slightly. Fine, Naruto replied, turning his head slightly. You probably didn't know this, but about 2 years ago the entire clan of Uchihas, except for 2 of its members, were massacred in a single night. The 2 survivors were brothers. The elder one was the one who slaughtered the clan and ran off and became a Ronin. The younger is a knowing prick who believes the world belongs to him, and has a life goal of trying to kill the elder one. For a millisecond, Tobirama's face almost looked satisfied. The expression was almost too fast to catch. Almost. Naruto narrowed his eyes. I know that most of the Uchiha were jerks. Believe me, I know. But being satisfied that their entire clan got slaughtered is kind of extreme, isn't it? He said, recoiling slightly. I don't expect you or anyone else to hate the Uchihas. That is personally my own opinion. I will admit they were strong, and I respected them somewhat, Tobirama said before sighing. But they slaughtered hundreds of my clan members. I had to go to hundreds of funerals. I don't ever think I'll be able to forgive them, but I feel some satisfaction. I know it may not be good, but you have to remember they did kill hundreds of my clan members. It was war, both sides did what they need to be done. Tobirama shook himself out of his thoughts. He seemed to be reminiscing as he said those words. I will train you, but do not take this offer lightly. I will not accept laziness or you slacking off on. Is that understood? I accept, Naruto said. Anyway guys, thanks for listening. I hope to see you guys next time.